The future of technology has always fascinated humanity. But what if I told you that we're now at the brink of something that sounds straight out of science fiction? Imagine a world where artificial intelligence can literally read your thoughts, decode your intentions, and understand your emotions just by analyzing your brain signals. This isn't some distant fantasy anymore. The technology exists today, and it's advancing at a pace that's both thrilling and slightly terrifying. Welcome back to Tech to Millions, where we explore the cutting-edge innovations that are reshaping our world. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most revolutionary developments in artificial intelligence and neuroscience. We're talking about AI systems that can interpret human brain activity with unprecedented accuracy. This technology is poised to transform everything from how we interact with computers to how we treat neurological conditions, and perhaps most remarkably, how we communicate with each other. But before we get carried away with the possibilities, let's start with the fundamentals. What exactly does it mean for AI to read your mind? The human brain is essentially an incredibly complex electrical network with billions of neurons firing signals constantly. Every thought, emotion, and intention creates unique patterns of electrical activity. Scientists have discovered that these patterns aren't random, they're surprisingly consistent, and more importantly, they can be decoded. The technology that makes this possible combines several sophisticated approaches. First, there's brain imaging technology, like functional magnetic resonance imaging, which tracks blood flow in the brain, and electroencephalography, which measures electrical activity directly from the scalp. More advanced systems use invasive methods, placing tiny electrodes directly on or in the brain tissue to capture signals with much higher precision. But here's where it gets really interesting. The raw brain signals are just the beginning. The real magic happens when artificial intelligence algorithms process this data. Machine learning models, particularly deep neural networks, have become incredibly sophisticated at recognizing patterns in complex datasets. When you train these AI systems on thousands of hours of brain activity data, paired with information about what people were thinking or doing at the time, something remarkable happens. The AI begins to understand the language of the brain. Recent breakthroughs have been nothing short of extraordinary. Researchers at various institutions have developed systems that can decode simple words and phrases from brain activity. In some cases, people who have lost the ability to speak due to stroke or neurological conditions can now communicate by simply thinking about what they want to say. The AI reads their brain signals and converts those thoughts into text or even synthetic speech. One particularly impressive demonstration involved a paralyzed patient who was able to type at speeds approaching normal conversation just by imagining the movements of writing letters. The AI system learned to recognize the specific neural patterns associated with each letter, allowing the person to compose messages at a rate of about 90 characters per minute. That's fast enough for real-time communication. But the applications go far beyond helping people with disabilities, though that alone would make this technology invaluable. Imagine controlling your smartphone, computer, or smart home devices with nothing but your thoughts. No more fumbling for remote controls or struggling with voice commands in noisy environments. Just think about turning on the lights, and they turn on. Think about playing your favorite song, and your music system responds instantly. The gaming industry is particularly excited about these possibilities. Brain-computer interfaces could create entirely new forms of interactive entertainment. Instead of using controllers or keyboards, games could respond directly to your thoughts and emotions. Horror games could adapt their scares based on your actual fear levels. Strategy games could execute complex commands as fast as you can think them. The level of immersion would be unlike anything we've experienced before. But perhaps the most intriguing application is in the realm of human communication itself. What if we could share thoughts directly, without the limitations of language? Some researchers are working on systems that could allow direct brain-to-brain communication. While we're still in the very early stages of this research, initial experiments have shown that simple information can be transmitted from one person's brain to another's. The medical applications are equally promising. Beyond helping paralyzed patients communicate, brain-reading AI could revolutionize the treatment of mental health conditions. Imagine if we could objectively measure depression, anxiety, or other psychological states by analyzing brain activity. This could lead to more accurate diagnoses and personalized treatment plans, The technology might even detect the early signs of conditions like Alzheimer's disease, potentially years before symptoms become apparent through traditional methods. However, as with any powerful technology, there are significant concerns and ethical questions that we need to address. The most obvious is privacy. If AI can read our thoughts, what happens to mental privacy? Our thoughts are perhaps the most personal thing we have, and the idea of them being accessible to others is understandably unsettling for many people. Current brain-reading technology requires deliberate participation. You need to wear special equipment or have electrodes implanted, and the systems typically require you to focus on specific thoughts or tasks. But as the technology advances and becomes less invasive, these safeguards might diminish. What if brain-reading devices become as common and unobtrusive as smartwatches? What if employers could monitor their workers' attention levels and emotional states? What if governments could use this technology for surveillance? These aren't just theoretical concerns. Several countries are already investing heavily in brain-computer interface research, partly for military applications. The ability to directly control weapons or vehicles with thought could provide significant tactical advantages. But it also raises questions about the ethics of such applications and the potential for misuse. There's also the question of accuracy and interpretation. Our thoughts are incredibly complex and often contradictory. We might think about doing something without any intention of actually doing it. We might have intrusive thoughts that don't reflect our true desires or beliefs. How well can AI distinguish between these different types of mental activity? And what happens if the system misinterprets our thoughts? Current brain-reading AI systems are far from perfect. They work best when people are thinking about specific, well-defined concepts or performing particular mental tasks. The technology struggles with abstract thoughts, complex emotions, and the constant stream of consciousness that characterizes normal human thinking. We're nowhere near the level of detail portrayed in science fiction, where machines can access detailed memories or complex plans. But the pace of improvement is remarkable. Just a few years ago, brain-computer interfaces could barely distinguish between a few basic commands. Today's systems can decode words, sentences, and even some visual imagery from brain activity. The AI models are becoming more sophisticated, and our understanding of brain function is advancing rapidly. One of the most exciting recent developments is the use of non-invasive techniques that don't require surgery or direct contact with the brain. Advanced forms of functional near-infrared spectroscopy and high-density EEG can capture increasingly detailed brain signals from outside the skull. While these methods aren't as precise as invasive approaches, they're much more practical for everyday use. Companies like Neuralink, founded by Elon Musk, are working to make brain-computer interfaces more accessible and powerful. Their approach involves implanting ultra-thin electrodes that can monitor and potentially stimulate individual neurons. While their technology is still in early trials, the long-term vision is to create a high-bandwidth connection between the human brain and digital devices. Other companies are taking different approaches. Some are focusing on improving non-invasive methods, while others are developing specialized applications for specific medical conditions. The diversity of approaches suggests that we'll likely see multiple types of brain-reading technology emerge, each optimized for different use cases. The timeline for widespread adoption is still uncertain. Medical applications are likely to come first, as the benefits clearly outweigh the risks for people with severe disabilities. Consumer applications will probably follow, starting with simple control interfaces and gradually becoming more sophisticated as the technology improves and public acceptance grows. Education could be transformed by this technology. Imagine learning systems that can monitor your comprehension and attention levels in real time, adjusting the pace and style of instruction to match your optimal learning state. Teachers could receive immediate feedback about which students are struggling with particular concepts, even before the students themselves realize they're confused. The technology could also revolutionize research in psychology and neuroscience. Instead of relying on self-reports and behavioral observations, researchers could directly monitor mental processes. This could lead to breakthrough insights into how the mind works and new treatments for a wide range of psychological and neurological conditions. As we look toward the future, it's clear that brain-reading AI will raise fundamental questions about human nature and society. If our thoughts can be read and potentially influenced by machines, what does that mean for free will and personal autonomy? How do we maintain human agency in a world where AI systems can predict our decisions before we make them? These philosophical questions don't have easy answers, but they're conversations we need to start having now. The technology is advancing rapidly, and we need ethical frameworks and regulations to guide its development and deployment. This isn't just about protecting privacy, it's about preserving human dignity and ensuring that these powerful tools are used for the benefit of humanity. The potential benefits are enormous. For people with disabilities, brain-reading AI could restore communication, mobility, and independence. For everyone else, it could create new forms of human-computer interaction that are more intuitive and efficient than anything we have today. It could enhance our cognitive abilities, improve our health, and even expand our capacity for empathy and understanding. But realizing these benefits will require careful consideration of the risks and challenges. We need robust security measures to protect neural data. We need clear consent processes for brain-computer interfaces. We need regulations that prevent discrimination based on brain activity patterns. And we need ongoing dialogue between technologists, ethicists, policymakers, and the public. The future where AI can read your mind isn't just coming, it's already here in early forms. The question isn't whether this technology will continue to advance, but how we'll choose to use it. Will we create a world where brain-reading AI enhances human potential and improves quality of life? Or will we stumble into a dystopian future where mental privacy is lost and human autonomy is compromised? The answer depends on the choices we make today. As this technology continues to develop, we all have a role to play in shaping its future. Whether you're a technologist working on these systems, a policymaker crafting regulations, or simply someone who will live in a world where AI can read minds, your voice matters in this conversation. The age of mind-reading AI is upon us, and it promises to be one of the most transformative developments in human history. The future is finally here, and it's more incredible and complex than we ever imagined.